We are in St. Benedict, Kansas, a crossroads in a farming community in the northeastern section of Kansas near Seneca, just off Route 36. Just about the only thing in St. Benedict is St. Mary's Parish. St. Mary's Church itself is inscribed in the National Record of Historic Places. St. Mary's Parish was founded in 1859. Construction of the current St. Mary's Church, which is of the late Roman style, was begun in 1891 and completed in November 1894. The church measures 162 foot by 60 foot with a 172.5 foot high tower. The limestone for the exterior was quarried by parishioners from two farms about 3 miles north of St. Benedict. In contrast to its rather simple exterior, the interior is a superb example of spatial enrichment by decoration and ornamentation. Inside the front doors is a small vestibule which opens into the narthex, bounded above by the underside of the organ and church balcony. The nave and side aisles extend eastward from there beneath the vaults 52 and 35 foot high, respectively. Cast iron columns bear the roof and vault loads along the nave length. Transept and crossing vault heights are also 52 foot. Their combined north-south length equals the nave and the side aisle's overall width, resulting in a rectangular plan which contains a traditional cruciform within. The church's chromatic, figural, and textural quality rest mainly in three areas: wall painting, statuary, and leaded stained glazing. All of the wall and vault surfaces are lime plaster on wood lath. In 1901, George Satory of Wabasha, Minnesota, applied to this church's walls over 300 colors in painted patterns, bands, and friezes. He used stencils, delineating, gloriating, and illuminating the cast iron columns, the vault ribs and bosses, and window openings. This lavish ornamentation by George Satory was the primary basis for the enrollment of St. Mary's Church to the National Register of Historic Places in 1980. George Satory was a contractor artist of symbolic design for the beautification of churches and other religious buildings. He incorporated many Christian symbols in his designs, all planned to add meaning to the whole and completed work. His style of symbolic art tolerated only perfection, as was demanded by the craft guilds of the old country, where time was secondary to results in perfection. Because of availability, he used a water-soluble paint known as calcimine on the walls of St. Mary's. Of the 150 churches and buildings decorated by George Satory between 1891 and 1931, only St. Mary's has preserved his work. In a 1949 interview, Mr. Satory said, quote, "I know of no symbolic church artists left to carry on our work. I think a church should be a thing of beauty, a work of art, as well as a place in which to worship our Lord," close quote. In one of his advertisements, Mr. Satory claimed his work was original in design and never duplicated. In St. Mary's, George Satory symbolized the 15 mysteries of the Rosary in his art, inscribing them in Latin around the church. Prominence is given to the crowning of Mary as Queen of Heaven, the fifth glorious mystery, painted on the transept ceiling in a flourish of symbols and monograms, with the Holy Trinity enclosing Mary, who is represented by an 8-foot diameter stylistic rendering of the word Maria with superimposed letters. Working with Mr. Satory in 1901 was a Russian-born artist, C.T. Zhutkaniowski of Chicago, who decorated the church with 14 original oil paintings. In the nave clerestory are 6 oil paintings on canvas, 6 foot by 9 foot, depicting scenes in the life of Mary, patroness of the church. In the transept are 4 round oil paintings on canvas of the 4 major prophets, each 6 foot in diameter. In the apse above the altar, there are 3 oil paintings directly on the plaster wall, depicting faith, hope, and love, the cross of faith, the anchor of hope, and the real presence of God, who is love. Surmounting the high altar is an oil painting on canvas, 6 by 9 foot, of the Assumption of Mary into heaven. The artist's signature is on the painting to the left of the main altar. The 14 stations of the cross are not merely relief work, but 3/4 life-size wall-hung sculptures consisting of 55 figures, plus 28 angels in relief below the stations. In addition to the stations, there are 37 freestanding statues in the church, plus figures of Jesus and Mary in the Pieta, John the Baptist and Jesus on the baptismal font, and a small sculpture of the Good Shepherd on the confessional. The church has about 3,000 square foot of window space, consisting of 17 large windows, 2 of medium size and 6 round windows, each 6 foot in diameter. Some of the windows are of intricate designed art glass, and some are stained glass, created by Meyer and Company of Munich and New York. The original cost of Satory's and Zhutkaniowski's decorative art was $4,100 in 1901 and took only about 6 months to complete. The church was not electrified at that time, and the scaffolding was probably wooden and erected as they went along. Between 1980 and 1993, the church was restored to its original condition for the celebration of its centennial. Restoring just their portion of the church interior cost nearly $100,000 and took 3.5 years to complete. I managed to get some of the organ, but the organist was not capable of bringing out its full tonal quality. The organ dates to 1907.
two of these books. Talks about my